I'll discuss with you the problem statements and try to help you understand what happens because of the problems, right? Understand the outcomes. If you do this problem, you give space to enemy, they have time to recover HP, they have time to send out self. So you can see it's actually trying to set these two creeps that are dying soon to his spell, level 3, kill threshold. Hey guys, welcome to the video. So in this video, it'll be a mid lane workshop related to 5 of the most common mistakes that mid laners are making and also the solutions. This video will be quite intense as there'll be a few options that require you to brainstorm for ideas and answers, as I'll provide you with some scenarios to think about. Okay? As always, if you're interested in getting some coaching with me, feel free to check out my website at bluendota.com. With that said, let's get into the video. Okay, so firstly, let's look into the goal of this workshop. This workshop is intended to help you understand important mid lane concepts. There will be 5 concepts that we'll be going through, and I'll be showing you what the concepts are in the next slide. Okay, so when we work out this workshop, we are primarily going to start with problem statements. So first, identify common mid lane scenarios. So I'll play some clips for you to see and try and show you what are the most common mistakes mid laners are making. And then I'll discuss with you the problem statements and try to help you understand what happens because of the problems, right? Understand the outcomes. And lastly, I'll identify the solutions together with you and provide you examples of what it looks like when you do it better. All right? So ultimately, we're looking at how to make sense of actions. Now, these are the 5 mid lane mistakes I'll be going through with you, and for each concept, we'll be bringing up some examples from clips for you to see. Okay, so we have creep aggro. So when to aggro, why to aggro. Sustain consistency, meaning regen, tango, salves. Trading or contesting. So how are you using your spells when you take creeps or trade against enemy heroes. Tower diving. Are you diving towers at the wrong time with the wrong criteria? And lastly, rune control. Do you leave to rune at the wrong times? Do you leave to rune at the right times? What are you leaving rune for? Okay, alright. So then let's start with the first example. For the first concept of this workshop is related to creep aggro. Creep aggro is an extremely important laning mechanic. It basically makes or breaks your lane, especially in the early levels of level 1 to 2. But most of the time it's used for wrong reasons in lane. So a lot of people, they just default to autopiloting when they do creep aggro. And I'll show you a few examples, namely 2 examples of autopiloting when aggroing. Now I'll play the clip of a short 5 to 10 second clip, and you'll try to understand or try to identify what is the problem, what happens because of the problem, and think of a solution for the problem. Okay, let's play the video. Alright, here's the first example of creep aggro being used incorrectly. This is one of my students' gameplay, so you can see. Okay, see if you can identify what the problem is. Right there, do you see it? So if you failed to understand what the problem was, let's bring up another clip and I'll show you again the exact same problem in a different situation. Okay, now will be the second clip of the same problem. Okay, do you manage to see it again? So basically what this guy is doing is he's aggroing backwards when really he's supposed to be moving forwards into a spell and trade hero to not give up space, right? So when you do this, a lot of times, most people, they default to autopiloting to aggro backwards and give up a ton of space. So let's go back to the board now and I'll show you. Okay, so as you can see, what this person is doing is basically defaulting to aggroing back all the time without understanding why. Right? You have to identify urgent creeps, which means when a creep is close to a spell kill threshold, meaning 2 to 3 right clicks to be able to kill with spell, you don't actually want to aggro backwards because this ends up causing a lot of space to be created, right? So when you're defensive aggro in a favorable situation, you actually give up a lot of space and in turn causing a lot of potential harass to be gone, right? So pulling creeps away when you're strong is not recommendable, not suggestible. And this is mostly when you're level 3, 4, 5 onwards where your spell does more damage. So you can see this example, Puck's level 3 and the creep's health is way too low, right? So 1 to 2 hits would have been enough for him to set a spell. Okay, so how can we actually solve this problem? Now I'll bring out a clip and you'll see the right way to do it. Alright, here is the clip of the Puck playing another match against a Dazzle, and this time you'll see him doing it properly. So you can see he's actually trying to set these two creeps that are dying soon to his spell, level 3, kill threshold, and then he finishes it with the orb, hits the hero, and manages all 3 creeps at once. That's related to contesting and trading, which is another concept we'll talk about later. But basically, you'll notice that he did not pull aggro, right? Normally, what people will do is they'll immediately default back to pulling the creeps back to the range, right? Pull the guy in, push him out, but you don't actually want to do that when the situation is favorable for you to trade. If you bring up the situation earlier, the solution was actually to not aggro, but rather set the 2 creeps here, because his level 3, his orb will be able to secure both the range and melee if done properly, and avoid defensive aggro by pulling away like what he's doing in these 2 situations. Okay? Do note that if you're a melee hero, you actually might need to defensive aggro much more than a range hero in order to not get harassed by the enemy hero, and also to punish them when they come in to contest for the range. Alright, now we move on to the next example, which is sustained consistency. So when we talk about sustained consistency, we are mainly referring to health and mana, right? Are you sending out regen? Are you using a bottle properly? Are you sustaining well in lane? It's very high importance and of value. But a lot of people, they often overlook it and tend to save too much gold to buy items. Okay, so let's see what is the problem from the clips here. Okay, so you can see this guy is moving into the enemy's tower, has some health, fortifies the creep, that's really good, pushes the guy away. Now he has a little bit of gold. Right, and let's see what he's going to do. Okay, it's just hitting creeps. The rune timer, note that rune timer is still 30 seconds, and it's been about 20 seconds since he has bought these items here. Okay, so did you manage to identify the problem? Right, the problem is related to sustained consistency. So let's go back to the board here. So this guy is constantly in low health and low mana, with the rune spawning in quite a bit of time, right? It's not like a few seconds, 10, 20 more seconds, with 40 seconds. So 40 seconds, you can actually send out the regen already with what he needed here is actually a salve, a mango, and a tango ideally, and just go back to full health, high mana, and contest the co-op again before the rune spawns, instead of giving us advantage for a long time. Okay, so if you don't send consumables or you send it too late, it means you have the inability to assess urgency. You're not aware of importance of recovering health and mana based on lanes, based on a state of lane. When this happens, you give up a lot of pressure in lane, and there's also possibility that you'll be zoned out from taking future creeps. Okay, so you give up pressure and you'll be zoned out from future creeps. Now then, what is the solution to this problem? Like we said, it's really simple. Just send out salve, send out tangos, send out mangoes on top of the rune if the lane is really heavy harass. Right, normally this will win you the lane, even if it's a lane you couldn't win. So let's bring out an example of this being shown again by the same player on Dawn, and you will see the difference. Okay, right here he has a courier sending the salve and mango over, and the rune, once again another game but similar situation, right? Rune not spawning soon. Because he has regen up, he's able to contest the puck and push him out again. That's really good play there. Right, a lot of harass. If he had not sent the salve or the mango, he wouldn't have been able to do this, and he has to wait for the rune again, which gives out a lot of space and potential pressure in the lane. Okay, let's go back to the board and see. Alright, so how can we solve the problem of regen? You want to continue pressure by sending out regen earlier before the rune spawns if the rune is really long, and make it a point to maintain 80% health more and 50% mana more. Alright, consider rune timer if you're a bottle hero. If you're not a bottle hero, then definitely be sending out a lot of regen together with every item that you're going to be sending out. Okay, let's move on to the next concept. So this concept is actually the most important. It's how you trade and contest creeps related to spell usage. So it's extremely key in lane, and most players, they actually fail to trade and contest because they don't understand how to set creeps, how to prep creeps, why to aggro, how to cast spells. Okay, let's bring out the clip and see what the problem is. Okay, now we have another example here of contesting creep where this guy doesn't cast spell on the creep, right? And he just uses right click to contest the creeps, where there's potential for harass and deny that was given up against the enemy hero, where he should have used his spell and trade the hero, secure the creep, and push him out. But he doesn't do this. So what you want to do is more something like this creep here, right? Where he cast spell, secure creep, and hit hero. Okay. So even that range creep there, he didn't secure his spell again, that's why he missed it. Alright, so what is the problem? Problem is, like I said, not using spell properly to contest last year and trade effectively. And also he misses the potential CS and gives up a lot of space because he runs away. Right. So how can we solve this problem? We want to solve the problem by constantly spell, contest, and trade. So we want to identify multiple last hits, drop the creeps to spell kill threshold like we talked about in creep aggro earlier, and then use spell properly to contest. This is applicable to both melee and range creeps. Yeah, not just the range creep, cause a lot of people tend to save for just range creep. If you can, the best would be both melee and range. If you can't, then try to save for range. If it's an urgent situation, then melee is fine. Okay, let me bring out a clip to show you this situation here. Alright, now you can see the creep is dying. Range creep is also potential dying to his spell past a few clicks. So the ideal play now is to move up, hit the range, cast spell, secure both melee and range, or move up, spell for melee and range, and one click on range. So what is it going to do? Right, he spell for melee, right click for range, that's fine. So that's how you contest and trade in lane. The best situation is of course to cast spell, secure both creeps, and right click on the hero to continue spell on the hero. If you can't do this, then contesting creeps with just spell is fine. Okay, right, now we move to the next concept related to tower diving. Okay, tower diving often is a factor between stomping lane or just winning lane and playing into an even lane eventually. This fear of tower hinders a lot of players from excelling in lane because they often have fear and are scared to dive. Okay, so let's bring up the clip and see again what is the problem. Alright, so you can see this Lina has shield rune, just slave the lion. Lion is really low on health. Right, he has a lot of bottle charges. So again, lion is still low on health. Shaker is around as well, a lot of factors for him. What is he going to do? Okay, regen really high. High health and mana, but decides to run away. Okay, you already see the problem right there. So not tower diving when he's strong. Okay, so he didn't dive when he was able to, based on health advantage. Really strong with shield rune as well, to push them out of lane. So whenever you guys do not do this, you actually allow the opponent time to recover health, where they send out regen or they call for a gank when they're healthy again. And then you'll miss on the opportunity to dive and kill them and break their tower eventually, forcing you to play the recovery route once again. So let me bring up two examples to show you how this is done better and what the outcome is when you do it better. Okay, first clip here, Lina against Wind Ranger. Wind Ranger has dropped really low. Now we're gonna see the correct solution. 45 is good. Dive, Kaspa, and kill hero. That's perfect. Okay, so let's see another clip. Not able to kill the hero, but you'll see that he's able to push the hero out, still based on advantage. Alright, here we see a Lina 5 against a Sniper 4. So he tries to push forwards, follows the creep, tries to stun the hero. That itself is also a 45 right there. That itself is already the understanding that he's stronger than an opponent to dive. The only problem is he failed execution. Okay guys, so do not be afraid of tower diving if you're stronger than enemy hero. As long as you do not draw the tower aggro, you're fine. I've made a video on tower aggro before. Make sure to check it out if you're not familiar with tower aggro. Okay, so how can we solve this problem? We dive, we fortify when we are strong based on health and level difference. Do this as soon as you can. If you wait to 6-7, level 6-7 and you start doing this, most of the time you're gonna get counter ganked and die. Okay, identify when enemy is low health and mana, make sure you start attempting the dive. Okay, lastly we talk about rune control. Okay, rune control is a significant advantage in lane, but sometimes you actually don't want to leave to rune even though a rune is available. If it's available but you're stronger, you don't actually want to leave. Alright, so right here, DP against Invoker. Invoker is clearly dying. DP has a lot of health. Rune has just spawned, right? Rune has just spawned. Oh, and this guy gets baited to the rune. Okay, so what is the problem here? It's pretty obvious, right? Right, he's created a lot of space with the enemy hero. Ran to rune when he's really supposed to mirror the enemy hero and trade him, dive him on the tower, not leave to rune. Okay. So then he left to rune instead of contesting and punishing enemy when stronger than them. Health and level difference was available, level was not available, but health was a lot more significant. Plus matchup was advantageous. And if you do this problem, you give space to enemy, they have time to recover HP, they have time to send out self, and they also have time to move to the other room when they are not supposed to be allowed to because they are weaker than you. So then how can we solve this problem? Let's bring out a clip to show you the difference when you know how to identify your strength and dive. Alright, here we see a DP level 5 against an Invoker level 4. DP is high health, Invoker is low health. Rune just spawned. But this player this time follows the guy because he knows he's stronger than him, able to push the hero out, contest him inside the lane under the tower, past the tower, and zones him out from there instead of leaving to Rune. See, a lot of pressure, a lot of commitment to the diving. Right, again related to tower diving as well. When you do this, contest this Invoker under tower, pass tower, and kill him. If he went for both the runes, this was not possible. Maybe Invoker regens health, and he wouldn't be able to get the kill anymore. Okay. Alright, so how we solve this problem? When you identify higher health, higher level, make sure you do not leave to rune. Always contest and punish the enemy. The best way is you actually mirror their movement. So if they go to a rune, follow them to the rune. If they don't go to rune, then follow them to not go to rune and just punish them under the tower when you're in a stronger position. Stronger position refers to resources are higher, level is higher, right? Meaning health and mana, and also matchup dependent sometimes. Okay, so we have come to a conclusion. Now that we have mapped out a clear understanding of the important mid lane concepts, I hope I've made it clear enough what you need to learn, what you need to know. Just repeating these 5 concepts will really take your laning to the next level. So we have firstly creep aggro, right? Do not defensive aggro when strong. Do not pull away when you're stronger. Instead, learn to set plus spell and trade enemy hero while utilizing the aggressive space you have. Then we have next sustain consistency, Tango, Mango, Salve, Clarities, right? You want to send them earlier based on how the lane state is going, whether harass is heavy, whether your health is maintained above 80% and above 50% mana all the time. Okay, keep up the pressure, continue the pressure, don't just rely on runes if the runes are too long. And then we have the trading and contesting. So this is identifying urgent creeps or set plus spell. If you're not familiar with set plus spell, it basically means you identify the dying creep, you drop the creep to spell kill threshold and then prepare for spell to last hit, and then you contest the creep while punishing the enemy hero after that. Okay, and then we have tower diving. So tower diving, dive the enemy when you're stronger than them under their tower. Learn to abuse tower aggro to harass under tower. Okay, do not be afraid of diving if you're stronger. Make sure you identify higher health, higher level, matchup dependent, 45 available, then you have to go. And finally, you have rune control. So rune control sometimes is a beat play. It can beat you into bad plays, right? You don't actually want to leave when you're stronger just because it spawns. Instead, you want to contest when stronger. So wherever they go, you mirror their movements, you follow them and not give them space. Okay guys, I hope that was educational and help you guys understand mid lane enough. If you're interested in getting some coaching with me to further understand a lot of these principles of Dota, just check out my website on balloondota.com. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you again in the next one.